I have a question for everyone. That question is, what defines you as a person? What makes you, you? A lot of us tend to define ourselves through our physical image, our jobs, bank balance, and a lot of the time to what others have to say about us. I used to define myself through three things. In high school, I was quite the people pleaser. I wanted everyone to like me because I thought that the more likable I was, the further that I would get in life, because being popular was so cool. And I tried so hard to become this person that everyone would like. A majority of the time I was living my life through other people's opinions of me. From the age of 16, I started to obsess over my weight. I wanted to look like the cover girl in Cosmo magazine, the Photoshop one. My diet consisted of just salads, and I used to literally count every single calorie that my body was consuming. I even went to the extreme of harming my body for many years to try and get rid of the food that I'd eaten because I needed the thigh gap and I needed the thin waist. I was in a relationship for the last 2 years of school, and I truly believed that my happiness came from someone else giving it to me. I had put so much pressure on this other person to be everything to me, to make me feel worthy and make me feel like I was enough. And then when the relationship ended, I was completely broken. I didn't know how I was going to stand on my own, and I felt like I lost the little sense of identity that I had, and I was terrified of being alone. I know today that the only reason I felt so empty and broken inside was because I didn't know myself at all. So it was the hardest and most emotional 5 months of my life. And I didn't know how to deal with how I was feeling, all this pain, all this emotion. And one day I called the person that I used to be with and I asked, "Are you happy?" And he said yes. And it was from that moment that I decided that I was going to be happy, and that I was going to find a happiness that worked for me, that I wasn't going to deal with this pain and these waves of emotion anymore. So I started journaling my breakup. I wrote down my feelings and my thoughts. And recently, looking back on my journal, I realized how I would end my writing off with positive affirmations towards myself. Things like, "You can do this, Kate." And I'm a huge fan of quotes, so I was putting quotes all around my room in places that I could see easily. And I started reading motivational books and positivity and powerful thoughts and how to change your mind. I was trying everything to get through how I was feeling something that seemed so impossible. But just like those positive affirmations that I was writing towards myself, I knew that I had the strength to move on. I just didn't know how strong I actually was. So I had to pick myself up in some way. And I did. I slowly started to. And for the first time in my life, I realized just how capable I actually was of standing on my own and being my own person. I just had to learn through loss that all I needed to have was me. So for the whole of high school, I let those three things define me. Other people's opinions of me, my weight, relationship. And by allowing these things to define me, I let them control and consume my life. And I was looking for happiness in those three places, but I could never ever seem to quite find it. I believe that happiness is something that you create for yourself, by yourself, on your own terms. The world that we live in is something that we create for ourselves. And I'm not talking about society's world. I'm talking about the individual world that each and every one of us experience, because as we shape our world and our lives, we shape ourselves too. So I've learned through picking myself up through a breakup and letting go of the things that I thought defined me, just how important it was for me to take the time out to figure myself out, get inside my own mind and understand myself. As there's only one part of the universe we can all be certain about improving, and that's ourselves. I'm currently reading a book called The 15 Invaluable Laws by John Maxwell. And in this book, he says something that really made me think. He says, as children, our bodies grow automatically. A year goes by, we get taller, we become stronger, become capable of doing more things, facing new challenges. But a lot of people carry with them a subconscious belief into adulthood that spiritual, mental, and emotional growth occurs automatically too. Now just think about that for a second. Because I was one of those people that believed that those things occur automatically, but it's not. Personal growth has to be intentional. We have to take ownership of our growth process, because we do not simply improve by accident. Think about a close friend of yours.